It's the year 2043. After a long and devastating global trade war fractured economies and shifted the international landscape, pirates and corsairs once again roamed the seas. With petrol and the chemicals needed to build rechargeable batteries in short supply, people relied on sails to propel boats and makeshift cars built from the remnants of old machines. A team of young pirates consisting of Americans Diego, Jamie, and Alex, Lee from China, and Naveed from Bangladesh, were on a mission for the Maharaja, on their way to the Indian Ocean. They were delivering a satellite to a team from Russia that had the means to launch it into space. They were joined by Junior, the young clone of Waylon Faust, the industrialist. The pirate ship drifted alongside the larger Russian vessel, its hull painted in faded navy blue, marked with Cyrillic lettering, and reinforced with modular armor. The crew stood at attention as a boarding ramp extended and two figures crossed onto their deck. One was a broad-shouldered man with a trimmed beard and a captain's coat lined in fur. The other, lean and sharp-eyed, wore a jumpsuit streaked with grease and bore a tablet under one arm. "This is Captain Mikhailov," the man in the jumpsuit said, nodding to Alex. "I am Petrovna. I speak your language. I'm in charge of the launch." Petrovna stepped forward, eyes scanning the crew, then landing on Junior. "You," he said, smiling. "You look familiar." Junior blinked. "I get that a lot." Petrovna chuckled, then turned to the satellite. He ran his fingers along the casing, tapped the interface, and nodded. "Good work. This will do." He turned to the crew. "Our mission has been complicated. Pirate nation attacks have delayed our launch window. We need to move the satellite to our vessel from a nearby port, securely. Then we'll need escort out of Pirate Nation waters." Alex exchanged glances with Diego and Lee. "We're in." Petrovna smiled again, still eyeing Junior. Then his expression shifted. "Wait, I know who you remind me of." He stepped back, squinting. "You're the spitting image of Waylon Faust, the industrialist, even the bowl cut." Diego let out a nervous laugh, too loud and too long. Junior rolled his eyes. "Please, I'm smarter, and way better looking." The crew burst into laughter. Alex leaned toward Diego and whispered, "Buzz cut. First chance you get." Captain Mikhailov returned to his ship, satisfied. Petrovna remained, inspecting the satellite as the pirate crew adjusted course toward the port. The wind picked up, sails billowing, and as the ships moved in tandem, the alliance was sealed, not just by tech, but by trust. The sun was low on the horizon as the pirate crew and their Russian allies approached the port of Karachi. The air was thick with salt and diesel, and the satellite, secured and humming, rested in its cradle, ready for transfer. Alex stood at the bow, scanning the sea. "Something's off," he muttered. "We've got a tail." Diego joined him, squinting while holding his glider gear. "I don't see anything." "That's the problem." Jamie stepped up. "You're not seriously thinking of gliding blind, are you?" Diego smirked. "I've done worse." Junior appeared, holding two devices. One's an upgraded EMP grenade, adjustable radius, set to fry the whole ship's tech. He handed Diego the second, a longer cylindrical explosive. "Same model I used in Africa. Drop the EMP, grab the mast, plant the charge, glide away. The Russian scout ship will pick you up and meet us at the port." Diego nodded. "Let's light it up." Minutes later, Diego launched into the air, glider slicing through the wind. He followed the faint shimmer of distortion, where the cloaked ship bent light unnaturally. He dropped the EMP. Crack. The cloaking failed. The Pirate Nation vessel shimmered into view, lights flickering, alarms blaring. Diego landed on the mast, planted the explosive, and launched himself back into the sky. Boom! The mast snapped. Smoke billowed. The ship drifted, crippled. The Russians cheered from their deck. Alex watched the wreck fade behind them. "Keep course, but expect trouble at the docks." They arrived at Karachi just as two local captains were unloading cargo. The satellite transfer began, cranes groaning, cables taut. Then, sirens. The Karachi docks erupted into chaos the moment the two Pirate Nation vessels stormed into the harbor. Their hulls scraped against the piers, their operatives leaping across the gap with blades drawn and rifles slung over their shoulders. Smoke from burning crates drifted across the water, mixing with the shouts of local captains who had rushed in to defend their port. Petrovna was halfway through directing the crane operators when bullets cracked against the metal frame above him. Alex grabbed him by the collar and yanked him behind a stack of shipping containers. "Cover! Now!" Alex barked. Petrovna stumbled, clutching his launch tablet. "I must stay close to the satellite." "You stay alive," Alex snapped, already knocking an arrow. "We'll handle the rest." He leaned out, loosing an arrow that streaked across the dock and exploded against a Pirate Nation operative's chest plate, sending him tumbling into the water. Another arrow followed, this one aimed at a mercenary trying to flank the Russians. Alex's shots were fast, precise, and relentless, buying Petrovna precious seconds to retreat to safety. On the far side of the dock, Junior crouched behind a toppled crate, clutching one of his cylindrical explosives like a frightened, but determined, child. A mercenary spotted him and charged. Navid didn't hesitate. He stepped in front of Junior, raising a scavenged metal pipe like a staff. The mercenary swung a machete, sparks flying as metal met metal. Navid gritted his teeth, pushing back with surprising strength. "Stay behind me, Junior!" he shouted. Junior peeked out, ready to throw the explosive, but Lee appeared in a blur, slamming a flying kick into the mercenary's ribs. The man crashed into a stack of nets. Lee landed lightly, eyes sharp. "Both of you stay close. I'll keep them off you." Another Pirate Nation fighter rushed them. Lee intercepted, sweeping his legs and finishing with a palm strike to the throat. Navid dragged Junior behind a forklift, shielding him with his own body as bullets ricocheted off the metal frame. "You okay?" Navid asked. Junior nodded, clutching his explosive. "Yeah, but I'm gonna need a new pair of pants after this." Lee smirked. "Focus. We're not done." Near the waterline, Jamie found himself face to face with a familiar enemy, the British Pirate Nation operative he had fought months earlier when he first met Lee. The man recognized him instantly. "Well, well," the Corsair sneered, drawing a curved cutlass. "The American boy who fights like he's late for school." Jamie twirled his stiletto. "And you're the guy who talks too much." They clashed, steel ringing, sparks flying. The Corsair was stronger, but Jamie was faster. He ducked under a wide swing, slashing the man's thigh. The Corsair hissed and countered with a brutal elbow to Jamie's jaw, sending him stumbling. "You've improved," the Corsair said, advancing. "But not enough." Jamie spat blood, reset his stance, and smirked. "Try me." The Corsair lunged. Jamie sidestepped, grabbed the man's wrist, and twisted, forcing the cutlass free. The Corsair headbutted him, dazing him, then tackled him to the ground. They rolled across the dock, fists flying. Jamie managed to kick him off and scrambled to his feet just as the Corsair charged again. This time Jamie was ready. He pivoted, using the Corsair's momentum to flip him over his shoulder and into a stack of barrels. The man groaned, dazed. Jamie picked up his blade from the ground. "Class dismissed." More local pirates arrived, fishermen, smugglers, and dock workers armed with whatever they could grab. They surged forward, overwhelming the Pirate Nation forces. One shouted, "We don't know them," while pointing at the teens, "but we sure know who the bad guys are," while pointing his sword at the Pirate Nation ships. The mercenaries faltered, realizing they were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. Alex regrouped with the others just as Diego arrived in the smaller Russian boat, breathless and wide-eyed. "What did I miss?" Diego asked. Jamie wiped sweat from his brow. "You should have seen it. The people just had enough of them and kicked them out." The docks erupted in cheers as the last Pirate Nation vessel retreated, smoke trailing behind it. Alex grinned. "Let's finish the transfer, before those goons change their minds." The satellite was safe, the Russians were alive, and Karachi had made its choice.